Earlier today, Mark Masters sent shockwaves through social media when you posted video of Auston Matthews walking off the ice midway through Toronto Maple Leafs practice. Mark, what happened? Why did he leave? And what are we looking at down the line?
Well, Gino, Leafs practice started on the Toronto Marlies pad, and usually they split it between two pads so that you're always on fresh ice and you don't have to leave to have a Zamboni do a resurfacing, and you can just keep the practice going. And so we are walking from the Marlies pad to the Leafs pad midway through the practice, and when I came through the doors here, Auston Matthews was leaving the ice. So because of that, we didn't see if it happened in a specific play or anything. It was kind of took us off guard, and then we spoke to Craig Berube afterwards, and he said, it's an upper body issue. It's not considered serious, and so Matthews. They have a preseason game tonight in Ottawa. Matthews wasn't scheduled to play in that game. They have a game on Thursday at home against Montreal, and then in Montreal on Saturday, and then they have two other preseason games later on. So we'll see if there's a timeline that comes into focus as the week goes on. But for now, it doesn't seem particularly serious.
How do you think the Leafs handled this situation now, Mark? I mean, we don't know what the injury is, and we don't know the severity of it just now, but we know that Auston Matthews has had a track record of upper body injuries, wrist injuries, hand injuries in the past, and he's a goal scorer, so you don't want to mess with this guy. What do you see in terms of the Leafs being cautious and saying, hey, let's just relax here, lots of time, let's give Auston all the time he needs to get back here?
Well, I can tell you at practice today after Matthews left, Mitch Marner moved over to center ice. William Villeneuve, who's a defenseman at camp, moved into the winger spot on that line. And they just kind of kept going in that regard. And he was asked afterwards what he thought about Marner at center, and he just said, looked good to me. Marner can fill in that way. He's just so smart and so good. He can probably adapt to anything. Of course, we haven't seen Marner as a center during his NHL career, although he played it in the junior level with the London Knights. So we'll see what happens. Again, the big boys aren't playing tonight in the game in Ottawa, and clearly at this point, there's no need to rush anything. But at this moment in time, I don't think they have to worry too much, just because Craig Berube says it's not particularly serious.
All right, we can't talk about the center position without mentioning Willie Nylander now. It's a phrase I didn't think I'd be uttering, but I'm going to. You've seen him skate a few practices now at center. What they're saying now is this is not going to be a brief experiment, but a long-term attempt trying to make him make the shift. What are you seeing so far, and do you see more hope in this unfolding in the Leafs' favor with Willie Nylander up the middle this time versus this time last year?
Well, if you give it more time, there's a greater opportunity for it to have success. I asked William Nylander after the game on Sunday night how he felt it's been going so far, and he said, basically it's too early to tell. It's been such a draining start to camp. And also, it's so competitive, so physical that, guys are maybe not the freshest right now. So give it some time to breathe as we go through this camp, and then we can reevaluate. They did an intra-squad scrimmage here on Saturday. The Nylander line was on for a couple goals against. He was minus player in the preseason game on Sunday. But yeah, it's too early really to make any sort of conclusions. That's why we need to see a bit more runway. It was just two preseason games last year that we saw Nylander in. So get a better sense of it. I will tell you it's not ideal that Calle Jarnkrok, who has been with Nylander and Max Domi, is now dealing with a lower body injury. He wasn't on the ice at practice today, and Jarnkrok obviously is a guy who brings a lot of defensive responsibility to that line. So again, something to keep an eye on as this experiment proceeds through camp.
Mark Masters with all the latest from Leaf Camp, where Auston Matthews left about midway through today's skate with what the team is calling an upper body injury. As soon as we get an update, and Mark Masters will get that for us, we'll get it right back out to you.